Hi everyone, Dark Wolf here. I'm just gonna show really quick. There's a couple of questions in my Discord about how to handle entity spawning, like mob spawning. So when I did my first world, I just like the first dungeon I did, the Dungeon of Wolves. I just placed them in a creative world and then saved the world, and that's what I shared as the dungeon. But I realized that there's a much better way to do it once I've spent Hytale's only been out for like a week, so I'm still learning all of this myself. But now that I've learned how to use fragments and portals into a world that's an instance, and then when you leave that world, it's all erased, right? I'm doing this for my dungeons now. I like it a lot better because it uses prefabs. So I'm going to kind of just explain the whole process. You'll have to figure out some of these things. There's a lot of tutorials online, but basically I have a special bench for the Brotherhood of the Wolf now in the mod that I'm creating. I have a gateway and I have a shard, so you can craft these fairly quickly. I don't know what's up with the models right now, but so my world is generated it's generated as you go into the portal. And as you'll see here, if I go into it, the Wolf Trials, this is what I'm working on. So now if I go into this instance, it's creating basically a quote-unquote world. It's spawning it. So I'm still creating these. These are going to be all the different elements of the world that it pieces together randomly. So I only have two. You can see these two distinct ones right here. This is one and this is two. And there'll be a total of 7 that'll spawn in randomly, and then you'll be able to go down into the dungeons themselves. Each one of these will basically be a different element of the trial. So there'll be, however many I decide. So anyway, that's basically the structure, but it's pulling all of these in from prefabs. So that's how it's handling that, and I'll show you the prefabs in a second. But so basically, you spawn in here, you have 20 minutes. There's some lore tablets I created that are cool. So the mobs in here, since it's destroying and recreating the world from prefabs, the prefabs hold the mobs in them. So it's a lot easier to place them where I want them, and then these guys spawn around the world. These are my new mob, little baby werewolves. They're not very strong. You can kill them. They pose a challenge, but they're not super hard. So they'll be the first. They're just on the kind of surface level, but then you'll go down into the dungeons basically, and I'm sure y'all have seen the video of like the entry point into the dungeon. So the dungeons will be laid out below these squares, like in rooms, so you go down to them until you reach like a boss room and get the final treasure for each trial. Have like 7 treasures you'll collect. So let me go out of this and show you. Let me find the return portal real quick and get out of here. This is the return portal you'll find at the end of the dungeon. So then you'll be able to leave and go back to the worlds once you finish the trial. Or it'll just end at 20 minutes, or if you die. So now that I'm back in here, I want to go into the prefab editor because I go show you those prefabs that are pulling in. And I'm just going to grab it from the server real quick. So I have trial room 1 and 2. So we're just going to go into 1, and that's the one we just saw. Just gonna load it in. So here's the prefab that we just saw, without the environment, of course, the void environment. But basically, this will spawn in. There'll be 7 different ones of these. All of the dungeon aspects will be underneath, and then the central treasure chest. So you'll go through all these different, rooms, trials, and stuff, getting all the way down to the boss room, and that's where you drop into the blood. So in here, it's really easy because it's a prefab. I can use my prefab picker. That's what I'm using here. Prefab selector, selections, prefab selector. I can select our prefab, and you can see the bounding box for it. So this is the selection around the bounding box. It just automatically selects that. So now if I want to, let's clear that selection real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go to the entity picker tool. So say I want to put something down in the world here let's just put something right at the entrance. I can delete this later. Let's put something cute. Maybe one of those crawlers. Yeah, we'll just spawn one of these in. Okay, so, and then in the prefab, they're not going to move around like they are in the creative world. There's ways to freeze them and stuff in creative mode, but it's a lot more frustrating than working with prefabs. It's why I like this way of building my my dungeons. So now that I've added him into my world where I want him to spawn, I can reselect my prefab. I'm going to hit p-edit, save. That saved my prefab that I just made the change. And then p-edit, exit. I'm going to exit back out of it. And then we're going to go back into the shard. And here we can jump back in. And he is... Oh, there's the other ones. Sometimes they spawn, sometimes they don't. There's like a spawn chance on the mobs too, I've noticed. Like even the little werewolves. There he is right there. Sometimes it'll spawn in, sometimes it won't. It depends on how they're set up programmatically. So there's our little guy. Now, once I leave this and come back in, you know, he'll spawn again. But all these, I've noticed when I was running around the world and it, you know, of course it's generating all of these different ones. How they spawn into it is a mystery to me still, but I'm only a week into learning this, so... but see, there's the guy we put in just now. And then if we exit again, we come back in, they're all going to be here. Like if I was to kill all these guys and then exit out and then come back in, it's just respawning the prefab. So it's a much better way to build your dungeons, I think. But Creative World, you know, is still, and sharing your world is still a method. But the nice thing about this way that I'm doing it is this is actually a mod. So when I share this mod with you guys, when I share this mod, it's going to be... I'm making a Brotherhood of the Wolf mod that has everything. That has the spell books that summon the wolves. That has the bench, has everything in it, like an all-in-one. I just kind of was like, you know what? It's just easier to do it all together in one mod. So when I'm making changes and updates, like I realize people want changes to the spell books for the summoning the wolves. But the problem I'm running into is I just want to make the changes in the mod that I'm working on because of the way that the structure and all of that stuff. I have all the windows open a certain way, and I just want to be able to make a quick like change or update to the spell books, so the wolf summoning, as I learn more, right? So I'm just going to do one mod that's the Brotherhood of the Wolf mod, and it will have the spell books in it. You can create them here. So this bench will basically have everything that's related to the Brotherhood of the Wolf workbench. You can create here. And this is very easily gotten to, from the workbench itself. So when you spawn in and you're playing my mod, you'll just create the Brotherhood of the workbench, and you'll have it. So then you'll be able to place it, and then you'll be able to right away access the gateway for the trials, because the trials are laid out where all of the shards here are different rarities, and they'll summon in like the different tiers of the worlds of the trials. So they'll get harder and harder as you go tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. That's how I'm laying out the wolf trials are going to be in tiers. And so they'll have enemies accordingly. Like if you go into a tier 1 world, you should be able, with copper and iron weapons and armor, be able to complete the dungeon. And then tier 2 will be, you know, just like that, so that there's a scale of progression. And also, you'll have to collect all these different pieces of keys to build the second fragment. So it's really cool. I've got a lot of plans for it. I have like lore items here that I'm going to have lore scattered throughout the trials, so you guys can read the story of the Brotherhood of the Wolf, their history and stuff, and it'll tell you about the different aspects of, you know, going through. And these are like collectibles too, that you can place down in your house or whatever and collect them. Anyway, and they go in your inventory, just throw them in a chest, whatever, but they're just collectibles. So yeah, that's just a really quick video of how I'm doing the mob spawning and the way that I'm handling my dungeons and mods moving forward. So I really thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe really helps support. If you're going to buy Hytale, use code DARKWOLF. That helps me out a little bit, and I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day.